Right, Hixie, when you joined Potter's Bar last season, you can't have expected to have the impact you had in such a short space of time.
No, yeah, I didn't really expect it. Obviously, it's the first experience in men's football, and to have the impact I had, and to win as many games and go unbeaten it was what I could have asked for, really.
Yeah, I mean, you've said it there. It was your first experience in men's football. That must be a great experience for someone like you.
Yeah, and especially like around the club, everyone welcomed me. Like I could have easily walked into Potter's Bar and no one would have spoke to me, or I'm a young academy player that was has no experience in men's football, and for them to like welcome me in that manner was what I could have asked for, really.
I mean, it helps when you're that good.
Thank you.
It's all right. Um, was the transition into senior football, especially at the Bar, slightly easier when you've got Nick Mountford on in the dugout?
Yeah, obviously it did help because it's Nick helped me settle in as well. Obviously, I knew Max before, um, and like if if I was to ask for anything to if I was to go on loan and say I want this, Potter's Bar would be exactly what I would ask for
That's good.
in that. Yeah.
Um, I was going to say with Nick, what was your relationship with Nick like? I'm assuming you were very close with him when he was at Stevenage.
Yeah. Nick is a great coach, no matter what. Like, you could go and speak to him about anything you wanted to speak to him about. You could ask him if you got in early and said, Nick, let's go out and train. He would be out there training with you. You wouldn't have to coach him, he'd come and train with you. I think that always helps as a player when you've got a coach that has good ability on the ball as well. He's not bad himself on the ball, but yeah, it helps. It did help a lot, and especially around Stevenage, the relationship was very good.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said you knew Max from before. That's news to me. How did you know Max?
Well, my dad knew him as well as one of my mates, and dad played with him as well, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, it was when I heard Max had the job at Potter's Bar, and then it's local to me. It was a no-brainer to come when I got the option to. I think Max come to watch a couple of my games at Stevenage, and I think he liked me. So
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I was going to ask with the senior level game, was there anything that caught you out or surprised you about the game itself?
I think it's more physical, obviously. Like with me, I'm more of a technical player. I'd like to get on the ball and pass the ball as much as I possibly can. But when you're getting into like men's games, wanting to get 3 points, it's all about winning. Then it doesn't matter how you play, as long as you get the win. You could have a poor performance, you could have an unbelievable performance. As long as you get the win, that's all that matters.
So was it a case of adapting your game slightly to meet it more physically?
Yeah, obviously, like with the academy at Stevenage, it's like about passing out the back, playing through midfield and stuff like that. But then when I got to Potter's Bar, it was a completely different football. We tried like on um when we was playing football, we looked good, but we had to adapt to the game. And if we was benefiting us going into the channels or playing balls over the top, which most of the time we did, and it helped us a lot, obviously, because it pushed us up the table and yeah, it's like the football you need to win games, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I suppose at non-league level, you're particularly at Bar, unfortunately, you are slightly hamstrung by the quality of the pitch, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I think as long as you like, there's good enough players to adapt to anything. I think at Potter's Bar, where the team they had last year was we had Lee Rose. He was like welcome me, like what I could have asked for again. He was very welcome. We had Brandon. He's obviously a key to the team with striking force. You had Ori. It's very good. You had Ricky at the back that was solid. Like probably one like vocal, could talk me through a game, same as Lee. And then obviously you had Laurie in goal, which on the second spell I come, he wasn't there, but even Finn was very good for a young goalkeeper. I think yeah, the players that we had, you had Prosper, Valks, all very good players.
Yeah, I mean, you spoke about a lot of leaders there, but to be honest, you come off a bit of a leader yourself. Given your age, you do seem to know how to dictate a midfield.
Yeah, I think that's what obviously I've got a dad that's played in the game, and when you've got him giving you advice and other people around you like Nick as well, I'm off the field. I'm quite a quiet lad. I keep myself to myself. I don't need to brag about what I am, what I do. But when I come onto the pitch, I'm a completely different person. Like you need to be vocal in midfield. You could, if you shy away from it, then people will target you in non-league. That's what I found out in my first couple of games. Then when I started to be more vocal, get on the ball, people start to step off you because they're like, oh, I don't want to play against him. And I think that's what helped me, and that's what I understood.
Yeah, so it's all about being a presence, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is. Like I'm not the biggest, but if I was to be vocal and put myself around, go into challenges, win headers, people are soon going to think, okay, he can be physical.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said you found it out on your first two games. You found it out pretty quickly. I mean, in a month-long loan spell to be the player of the month in that October, that's pretty good going, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think I've seen it. When to go in and go straight onto set pieces. I think the first game I didn't take set pieces. I kind of shied away from it. I was like, I don't want to take set pieces because I know how key they are in the non-league game and in even in the EFL. You see Stevenage, they score loads from set pieces. And I think with the set pieces, I was like, oh, I don't really want to take them. But then when I got there, they were like, oh, Lee was like, go and take it. I took it, and I think we nearly scored from it. And ever since then, I didn't get taken off set pieces. I think obviously that's where I added numbers up to my game as well. Got assists off set pieces. I think Chesnut there was assist from Ricky's header. Um, and then yeah,
Yeah, that was a brilliant corner, by the way, but I will get on to that one. Um, you signed your pro deal at Stevenage in January. That must have been a proud moment for you.
yeah, it was. It was obviously like I've been there my whole. I was there. It was a bit crazy, but I was at Chesnut when I was younger. From and then I joined Stevenage at under 10s,
Hmm.
and then I got contract after contract, and then once I got my scholar, and then in my first year I wasn't like there was players that were better than me, and I weren't that physical. I was more of a quiet lad. I was more quiet on the pitch than I am now. But that comes with experience, I think. And then in my second year, when I got into my second year in pre-season, I think I got the opportunity with the first team, and I just took it. I thought, like, I don't have no other option. I need to take it. Like, even if I don't have to be physical, I can work my way around not being physical and then playing easy passes and just getting myself into the game like that. And I think I played against Hitchin in my first game, and I done really well. And then ever since then, I played the whole pre-season with them, and then I was on the bench against Exeter in the Carabao Cup. I was on the bench in the EFL trophy, EFL Cup or whatever it is, against Wimbledon, and then I come on against Crystal Palace. Um, and then yeah, they offered me a pro. I think yeah, for my family as well. I think they've seen how hard I've worked, and I know how hard I've worked over the thing, but it doesn't stop me from working harder. Like that pushed me on to work even more harder. And then it was a bit of a shame that the injury come at the time it did, but that's the things you can't help in football.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask you about that actually. How are you doing with the injury recovery?
Well, yeah, the last game of the season I played for Stevenage against Orient in the 18s. I scored. I played 45 minutes and I scored. So that was a good little game to come back into. But yeah, no, I feel ready to go again for the new season.
That's excellent. And how important do you think the club was, all the loan spells that you've had at the club were in terms of getting that pro deal?
I think it's like you can't. I think every player needs to go on loan to get that experience. No player will be able to, especially where you don't have at Stevenage, we don't have a 21s. So going to a men's team and getting that experience is valuable to what you want to be in, if you want to play in the EFL. There's no possible way you could go from 18s football to straight into first team in League One. The experience that every player needs is in non-league, even if it is step 3, step 2, step 1. You get valuable experience from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I wanted to ask you about that Concord game. I know you got injured in it in the end, which is obviously a shame. But what an incredible game that must have been to be a part of, turning that round in added time.
Yeah, I think we were well in the first half. We was in control, wasn't we? But then I don't really know what happened in the second half. Got a bit complacent, and then you can't. It's football at the end of the day, and then when it just shows how together we was and how much of a great team we had, and the leaders that pushed us through to win the game. Because for a young player like me, I could have easily shied away and gone, you know what, we're losing now. We was 2-0 up and we're losing. I don't, like, I could have shied away from that. But when you have Lee Rose in your ear, you have Ricky, and all the players are leaders, but they're the main ones. And they, in your ear, like, come on, get on the ball. That's when you're like, oh, okay, right, I can get on the ball now. And then as soon as you get that first pass right, you're like, okay, then they'll go again. And then that's when you gain confidence.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, mate, I think you were pretty influential. I can't remember the goals off the top of my head, but you were fairly influential in turning that round, weren't you?
Yeah, I think so. I think one goal come from a set piece, didn't it?
That's it, yeah.
Um, yeah, I think like I said earlier, the set pieces are so key, and for them to trust me on set pieces, I think. But you've got to show that, haven't you? You've got to show that you're confident on taking set pieces. You've got to show that you're confident on the ball, and people will give you the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to ask you about the derbies. I didn't even know you'd played for Cheshunt at youth level. Obviously, that makes sense. They must be
Yeah.
really strange in your family.
Yeah, well, mum has a relationship with Cheshunt, so and everyone's has been involved in Cheshunt or still is involved in Cheshunt. So when the timing of the loans were perfect because my I think it was my second game because I played Horsham on the Saturday and then the Tuesday night was away at Cheshunt. And when I called my mum up saying I'm going back on loan to Potter's Bar, she checked Potter's Bar's fixtures straight away and was like, "Oh, you're playing against Cheshunt." I was like, "Yeah." And then but that I like to prove people wrong and show people what I'm actually about because there's a lot of people in football that don't like to see people do positive things, and when people hear that you're doing well, they're like, oh, "Okay, I'll come and watch you." And then when I had loads of people watching me at Cheshunt and I played well, I think I got 2 assists that game because I got the assist to Brandon's goal. But Brandon took the credit because it was a great finish, but no one saw my assist. Um, but yeah, the corner as well. But yeah, I think that was a great game. And then we played at home, didn't we? Wasn't it a draw? And it kicked off at the end.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that was that was a great game. But the derby's a derby. It doesn't cross my mind to think, oh, I've been at Cheshunt before and I want to help Cheshunt out. If anything, I want to get 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it sounds like you were right up for it almost to prove some of them lot wrong.
Yeah, I think if you got people in your ear saying, "Oh, are you actually that good?" or because you can tell when people say stuff like that, and when you are like, I'm always want to prove people wrong when people say to me, "Oh, you need to build up in the gym." I don't, I might need to build up in the gym, but if I can work around it and play my style of the way I want to play, then and which it works, and why would I need to go in the gym and build it up? But obviously, that's something in my game that I can develop, which I am trying to in the off season right now. That's something that I'm working on. Um, in the gym, I'm in the gym most days now, just getting the upper body and legs, just trying to build stronger.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, the fact that you're quite a slick player, I think suits your game, to be honest.
Yeah, it does. But you sometimes, you get found out because there is very good players in non-league. There's very good players in the EFL, and then wherever I'm going to play. So there'll be very good players that will figure out how to deal with it at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, you're such a calm player on the ball, despite being so young. So would you say composure is sort of a big part of your game?
Yeah, I think I don't see um like when I'm on the ball, I don't panic. But there's no need to panic. There's always going to be an option for me. I know there's rather going to be someone running in the channel, or there's going to be someone coming to get the ball to feet. So I always know I'm composed. You that's mainly the thing I think everyone needs in football. Because if you're not composed, then you're gonna be panicking all the time. You're gonna worry about what's behind you, or where can you pass the next ball. But I always have a picture in my mind to think, I know where I'm gonna play this ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do it very well.
Yeah.
Right, last question from me, David. Don't know if you're allowed to answer this one, but do you think you'll be back at the club next season?
Oh, you never know in football. You never know.